I'm Steve Sharma. I'm with Rodriguez Transportation Group. And I began using StreetLight about 2 years ago on the I-69 W project in Laredo. And I've used StreetLight on projects in Austin, Houston, Odessa, Lufkin. And previously, I'd only used the OD data in StreetLight, but then I think last year they started making the volumes available. So we started using that on a project in Austin, the State Loop 360 project. And we found the volume data to be very helpful on that project. And now I'm going to talk a little bit about RTG. You can see that we are a Texas-based firm, and we've got offices in the larger areas, as you can see on the map: El Paso, San Antonio, Austin, Houston, Dallas. We are a small firm. We only have about 50 employees. We do a lot of PS&E and schematic work throughout the state. And of course, you have to incorporate traffic engineering and schematic design, but we also use the traffic data in our PS&E design, to calculate things like road user cost and help with traffic control plans when a road's under construction. And we've completed big projects all over the state. We've done I-35, 183 interchange. We've done schematics in Houston on Interstate 45, I-35 all for years in Austin, projects up in Dallas. So we've done a lot of big projects. And I like using StreetLight because we only thought the larger firms had access to this kind of data. And I was pretty surprised when we checked into it how affordable it was for a company like us to get the data. And not only do we use it on our projects, but we also use it on our proposals. That's where it really helps us compete against firms that have 50,000 employees. We won a big project out in Odessa using StreetLight. I think it really helped us. So, this product's good for small firms like us to get data we need for projects and proposals. Previously, we get a sub to do our traffic counts for us. And obviously, you still need that kind of data. But then things changed with the pandemic. So we had to rely on historic data to continue our work because we weren't going to wait a year or two to start a project waiting for traffic counts to get back to normal. That's where StreetLight really helped us. There's a project we're working on in Austin. We're the GEC on Loop 360. It's on the west side of Austin. It's about 15 miles long. TxDOT wants to go in there and kind of make this major arterial almost a controlled access freeway. They're going to put in 8 grade separations, and each grade separation is almost a project to itself. And we were able to use StreetLight volume data to fill in the gaps where we didn't have any kind of traffic counts at all. And it's helped lay out that entire roadway, and it's kept moving right along. A couple of those projects on 360 are going to construction next year. Without StreetLight, it would have been difficult to keep moving forward. So I highly recommend it. On the I-69 project, we had a lot of traffic data, a lot of counts, but we wanted to know where the vehicles were coming and going and going to, I should say. And that's where, StreetLight, again, helped us figure that out. I'll go into detail in that project. And then I'll say the other thing about StreetLight is it's really easy to use. You watch about a 15-minute video, and it's a tutorial. It's really easy. You set up these origin destination zones, or gates as I like to call them, and you input those gates in. Then you tell StreetLight what data you want. Do you want it all week long? Do you want it through the weekday? The time periods you want it, you hit the submit button. And usually on a small project, I've gotten it in 15 minutes, the data. I didn't know if everybody knew where Laredo was. It's right on the border of Mexico and Texas. And it's a city of about 200,000 people, middle-sized town, but it's a very busy border commerce area. And the next slide is going to show us more of a detailed project location map of this area. That's I-35 on the right. You see it. It's major corridor. I'm sure everybody's heard of it. On the bottom left corner, you can see That's the bank of the Rio Grande River. And then the trucks come in from Mexico, and then they enter in at the World Trade Bridge. That's the border control facility where the trucks are inspected right there. And then they turn right out of that facility and enter in on I-69. It's 2 lanes in each direction currently, and it's going to be 3 lanes. And we were tasked with adding a lane in each direction on I-69, but that major arterial, that's Mines Road. It's highly congested in there, and there's a lot of trucking facilities. You can see the residential on the left, but to the north of there, there's nothing but trucking facilities. It's crazy. The traffic volumes are like 40% trucks out here. It's a major truck hub. So just remember where you saw Mines Road and where I-35 is. And the next slide is going to show you a couple of pictures of the congestion. So the picture on the left is showing you, I'm on top of the bridge on I-69 looking down at Mines Road, but what you're seeing is the congestion on the westbound frontage road approach to Mines Road. There's usually more trucks than that. I'm surprised there was actually that many cars. Like I say, it's 40% trucks at least. And in the back corner of that picture, you can kind of see a ramp. It looks further than it is. It's about 700 feet from there. And that ramp backs up. This congestion at the intersection of Mines Road and 69 Frontage Road backs up onto that ramp with all those trucks. And it's a bad situation. So TxDOT wanted us to see what we could do to fix this intersection. And then on the right, that really shows you the amount of traffic. That's eastbound I-69 to the connectors at I-35. This is pretty typical of the amount of trucks that you see in this area. It's pretty bad. And TxDOT tasked us with fixing this mess. So they asked us to add 1 main lane in each direction on I-69, then to improve traffic operations at Mines Road. To further complicate the issue, you saw that those were existing volumes, what's out there now. And then when we got the traffic projections, that exit ramp there, the one that I said was 700 feet from that intersection, it was carrying in design year 2040, it was 2,200 vehicles. It was like projected at 25% truck volume, but I think it's even higher. I think actual counts, we had about 40%. So what TxDOT wanted us to do was put a 2-lane exit at that exit ramp we talked about, the one 700 feet from Mines Road on westbound 69, and then do a dual right at Mines Road because that right turning volume is so great to Mines Road. And we ran a VSIM model, Synchro, and it didn't work, having a 2-lane exit with that many cars and then a 700-foot weave to make a right turn on Mines Road into all those trucking facilities. And, you can imagine a dual right with 2 semi trucks, making a right, and then the right lane tapering in. It wouldn't have worked. It wouldn't have been safe. So then we had the volume, but then we wanted to know, why are so many vehicles making a right turn at Mines Road? And that's where we use StreetLight to help us. And even though it's I-69, it's called a Bob Bullock loop. It was loop 20 and it became I-69. So then you see Mines Road, obviously running north and south. On the right side of the picture where it says Milo Road, that's actually where the connectors come in. That bottom connector is your northbound I-35 connector. And then the other connector, you can barely see, it's where the D is in Miles Road. That's your southbound connector. So we put a gate or a zone in where the 2 connectors come together, and that's giving us all of the flow from I-35 where that black dot is. So that's our origin. And then we wanted to see where all those trucks were going, or all the traffic was going from I-35, those 2 connectors, northbound and southbound. And as you can see, this is over 24 hours. Most of that traffic is going up Mines Road. You see that 54.3% number. That's how many vehicles continue on Mines Road into all those trucking facilities I described earlier. But if you add up all those zones, there's hardly any of them that continue on the main lanes. It says I-69 out, 12.6%. So Out of all those trucks that were using the I-35 connector, only 12.6% were continuing on the main lanes. More than it's about 70% were turning right during the 24-hour period, all going up Mines Road. And this is the other thing I like about StreetLight. You can aggregate that data into peak hours. You just tell it, hey, I define my AM peak hour. We did it the 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. period. That's even crazier because I've never seen numbers like this where that's telling us 74% of the vehicles using the I-35 connectors were going up Mines Road. And again, only I-69 out, there was 8.6% are continuing on the main lanes. They're all coming off of these connectors and getting on to turning right at Mines Road. They're hardly going through into Mexico. They're going to the trucking facilities. So then we also looked at the PM peak hour. That's the next slide. This one, it's still high, 47.5% are going north of that Killam Industrial. It's a crazy amount of volume. Again, all that I-35 traffic is getting on the main lanes, I-69, taking that exit, and then making a right to Mines Road. So then when we saw this, we decided it doesn't make sense to bring those vehicles onto the main lanes of I-69 when all they're going to do is weave and then have 700 feet to access that exit ramp and turn right at Mines Road. So what we came up with the StreetLight, and that's where the two connectors are coming in. You can see that that's at Gore Point. That's the northbound connector, and then that's the southbound connector. They're coming together there. And right now, they're all coming, they're following, where that yellow line is, and they all get on I-69. And there's no reason for that. So we designed that new ramp right there. It's a slip ramp to where they can exit straight onto the frontage road and never enter I-69 and have a weaving scenario on the main lanes. And then further, they don't have to exit Mines Road 700 feet from the intersection and weave within 700 feet to turn right. So we're bringing them on right there. They enter the frontage road. They have their own lane. We taper the frontage road down to one lane. These guys form the second lane. And then the next slide shows you, it would be continuing west. Up and down road is Mines Road. And then right here, they're continuing down that frontage road. And we've given them, they're going to make a free right. They're going to come around, take that right. And they have a fourth lane added on Mines Road up to Killam Industrial. And you can imagine how scary the scenario would be if we'd have done what the original idea was that dual ride in there. You'd have those trucks side by side, and then that right lane would have merged out. So we think this is going to work. We got the IAJR approved. The plans, the PS&E plans are at 100%. They are due to begin construction either January or March of next year. And we think this was a real good project that showed the use of what you could do with StreetLight. If we hadn't had it, we wouldn't have known that I-35 traffic there was no reason to bring them on and create a weaving situation on the main lanes. It makes it very safe this way. They're out of a dangerous weaving situation and they're already on the frontage road.